It says no?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I think that means you are good to go.
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Oceana. I'm a visual artist from the Bahamas, but I'm currently in Canada, so it's pretty awesome that I get to do this with the National Gallery. Today I'm teaching a beginner class on how to make rope, sort of about how to recycle things for art. Yeah, so I know you all have your t-shirt. I have my t-shirt here and a pair of scissors, and that's all you're gonna need. So let me just bring the camera down. We're gonna start by cutting just one side of the t-shirt. So what we're doing is cutting the t-shirt sort of in a spiral so we get the entire use of the t-shirt. You can cut it like just all the way across and like in a strip across. And you would get a piece of rope, maybe like that long. But we're gonna try and use as much of the t-shirt as we can. So I'm just gonna start by cutting in the middle on only one side of the t-shirt, all right? Just about an inch. So can you see that? Just about an inch. And then I'm gonna start cutting into a spiral, like cutting it into a really long strip using as much of the fabric as you possibly can. What I like about this is that you can make rope with so many things, and although we're gonna use it for art, it's a really useful tool, you know? So we're just cutting along in a strip. See? So I'm just gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna flip the shirt over so I can cut it from this side. So now that we're getting back to the other side, we want to cut like a little bit up so that you can create another section, if that makes sense. So like we're back to the beginning now. That's where I first made the cut. So we're going to cut above it into the next section here. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect at all. See, that was where it began, and now I'm continuing it. So we're using old t-shirts to make these ropes, but ropes can be made out of paper. They can be made of grass. It's a really cool thing as long as you have like a strip of something and you know how to twist it properly, which we're gonna learn. You can find rope anywhere, and you can find art objects everywhere, things to use for art. You know?
We have a question, Oceana. Someone's asking if they could use any pattern shirt.
They can use any fabric that they have. Any that they have.
Okay, and someone is also saying the sound is a little low, so
I'll try and speak a bit louder.
Okay, thank you.
So we're just going to be doing this for a little while. We're going to keep cutting it into a strip. So see, we're getting a nice long strip out of this by cutting it into a spiral rather than just cutting it all the way across the t-shirt, so that we can make as much use out of the fabric as we can. Once again, we're back to where we began, and we're just going up a little bit so that we can start a new piece. and continue making it really nice and long. So it's kind of repetitive, but we're just trying to cut the shirt so that we can get as much fabric as we need. I've got a lot already. This is gonna make a lot of rope, which is great. So I think I'm gonna do one more section of the shirt. And then we can start actually twisting the rope, and I'll show you how to do that. We're going to use these ropes for decoration in the second lesson, so don't worry too much about how long it is. It doesn't really matter right now. As long as you have a section of rope. Like I made this one yesterday. It's probably like a foot maybe, and I was still able to use it for the decoration. So, okay. So now that we have our strip of t-shirt, of fabric, I'm just stretching it out a little bit so it rolls in. Can you see how it rolls in so that there aren't as many like cut edges? So I'm just pulling at the rope really lightly, at the fabric really lightly. Depending on the type of fabric you have, you don't want to pull it too hard because you could break it. But this is a really stretchy fabric, so.
So about how many times would you say you went around when you were cutting, Oceana?
I'd say maybe 10 times.
Okay.
Yeah. I still have like almost a full, like half a t-shirt probably.
Okay.
Fabric. Okay, so our fabric is stretched, so it's curled in, if you can see that, so there aren't like cut edges. And so now what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna tie it to the leg of my table. You can tie it to the leg of a chair, just something to hold it so that you can twist the rope. So I'm just gonna bring my camera down to the floor, to the leg of my table, so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm using this here. And what I'm doing is I'm putting the two ends together so that it makes half. So that's the middle there, right? And I'm gonna tie it around the leg of the table. I'm just gonna create a simple knot. You're gonna cut this bit anyways at the end, so it doesn't matter. So now we have a knot there. Okay, so now this is the rope bit. This is where you start twisting. So what you do to make sure it's nice and tight when you do the rope here, let me show you the example. So you want a nice tight twist. It's sort of like twisting hair, but you want it nice and tight by twisting it before you wrap it around each other. So in your right hand, you're going to twist it in your fingers and then switch hands and then switch it between your hands. And then take the other rope that was just in your left hand and twist it in your finger and then switch them, right? And then you twist it in your finger and you switch them and you twist it in your finger and you switch them and you keep doing that. You keep twisting in your finger so it stays nice and tight. It's sort of like braiding. So I'm just gonna keep doing this until we have rope. And because this is kind of long, it's getting a bit tangled, but don't worry about that. You can just loosen it as you go. At the back here. Is everyone able to see what I'm doing with my fingers? Twisting.
I think so. I think this is a good view. And if people have questions or comments, let us know, and Oceana can adjust. I just have a question out of curiosity, Oceana. What made you pick this activity? Was there a particular thing that like inspired you to pick this?
Yeah, I wanted to do something that could be used for art, but was also really useful. I like the idea of art that can be used for many things and also being able to like reuse materials so it's a more sustainable and environmentally friendly practice, because we oftentimes in art can waste so much, and this can be done by anyone with very, very little materials.
I think that's cool. Thank you for answering.
Yeah, no problem. It's a little repetitive, so I'm
That's fine.
a little quiet. And then once you get the hang of it, you sort of just like, you get going, and it'll be this is going to be a really long piece of rope, which is awesome. And then in the next lesson, we're going to use this to decorate these like trees made of yarn, and these are going to be these are going to be our yarn essentially.
I think another thing to note for the participants is that the clothing industry also like contributes heavily to climate change and the environment. So this is a good way to get as much use out of a shirt or whatever kind of fabric as possible.
Yeah, any sort of spare fabric. Like if you like to sew regularly, or maybe your mom sews or someone you know sews and they just have scrap fabric that they're going to throw out, you can use it for so many things, stuff like this, or you can make patches, or I once made a little like rice heating pad out of old fabric. You just put rice in it and microwave it and it keeps it warm, basically. See, I'm keeping like tension on it by keeping it on the table. I'm able to pull it sort of, and when you let it loose, you can see it still keeps its shape really well. So, you know, we've made successful rope. And if you've done it tight enough at some point, you could even cut it and it shouldn't unravel, which is really cool. moving it back a little bit so I can. You can make anything using this rope. So for the next lesson, we're using it for a wall decoration, but why I really like this lesson is that this can be used for so many things. I'm just reading one of the questions that's in the chat bar. It says, could I make a friendship bracelet from this? Saw something like this on the program I was watching. And of course you can. We're going to be using it sort of as yarn in the next lesson. So I'm just checking the tightness of it. It's looking good. Can you see it? If you wanted to do like a shorter piece of fabric and do multiple colors if you had, you could do that too. But I had this one t-shirt and I was able to make a long strip from it. This rope's getting really long now. Just going to grab my scissors. So I'm going to do a little bit more and then I'll show you how to end the rope. Okay, so now that you've twisted, you're just going to tie it in a knot around your finger. Just tie it in a knot. And tighten it so it's to the end of where you twisted. And that's how you end it. And I'm just going to cut it off of the table. And what you can do is you can cut this into shorter pieces. So I'm just going to take a section to show you that you can cut this like here. And it doesn't really unravel. You can still just use shorter sections of it, make a long roll of it, you know? So, yeah. That's how you make rope.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And what are they gonna do in the next lesson?
So for the next lesson, we're making wall decorations that look like trees using the rope as our yarn. I'll show you an example of how that looks. I know the rope making can be a bit time consuming, so you can also use yarn for the next section as well, plus using your rope as decoration. But we're going to be like using yarn and weaving our rope through. So you're going to need a twig, yarn, and any of the rope you made. Feel free to make more rope in the meantime.
Awesome. I just want to open the floor if anyone has questions before we leave. Let us know in the comments. And if not, then when will they see you again, Oceana?
On the 24th.
24th. Got it. Alrighty. I don't see any questions, so I think we're good. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
and see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.